Hey, welcome to The Explainer. Today we're going to get into a really fascinating business puzzle. Why the exact same strategies that can lead to incredible industry-changing success can also, believe it or not, lead to complete and utter failure. All right, let's just jump right in with a question about a company I'm pretty sure we all know, Sony. I mean, these are the folks who gave us the Walkman, the CD, the PlayStation. So how on earth could this brilliant, innovative company get its Betamax video format so spectacularly wrong? You know, when you look at Sony's history, it's just wild. This is a true titan of innovation, but its whole legacy is this crazy roller coaster of huge, massive hits right next to these colossal misses. They'd launch a total game changer like the Walkman just a few years after a famous flop like Betamax. And this wasn't just a one-time thing. It was a pattern. So this pattern, it brings us to the core idea we're going to explore today. See, these extreme outcomes, they aren't just a coincidence. They're actually part of a fundamental business principle, something called the strategy paradox. And it explains how these totally opposite results are in fact two sides of the very same coin. So here it is, the paradox in a nutshell. The very actions, the big commitments you have to make to maximize your chances of a huge, game-changing win are the exact same actions that also maximize your chances of a total company-ending failure. It's a wild idea, right? It pretty much flips everything you think you know about business strategy on its head. And this slide, wow, it just lays it out so clearly. To win big, you have to have a pure, focused strategy. You know, like being the absolute best quality, which is what Sony tried with Betamax. You've got to make these huge long-term commitments, these investments that nobody can copy. But then, look at the right side of the screen. What leads to the highest risk of failure? The exact same things. It is the ultimate double-edged sword. Okay, so why? Why does this happen? How can a brilliant commitment just turn into a fatal one? Well, the answer comes down to two really powerful kind of hidden forces that make leaders decide things in what you could call a fog of uncertainty. So the first big force, it's something we all know but often forget. The future is just fundamentally unknowable. It's not one single point you can aim for. It's this huge range of possibilities. With Betamax, Sony made what looked like a perfect bet. They thought time shifting, recording TV shows would be the killer app. But what they couldn't see was this other future barreling down the tracks, the explosive, totally unexpected rise of the movie rental market. A future where VHS's longer recording time, not Betamax's better quality, was the only thing that mattered. And you know what? The data totally backs this up. Studies looking at thousands of companies show that firms with these pure strategies, like being the cheapest or the highest quality, are, on average, way more profitable than the companies with muddled, hybrid strategies. But here's the kicker. Those same pure strategies also have a dramatically higher mortality rate. You either win big or you go home permanently. And this reality, this high-stakes game, it sets up this huge mental trap for all of us, a bias that just completely messes with how we understand success. It's called the survivor's trap. And we all fall for it, right? Because we love to study the winners. We obsess over the visionary companies that made all the right moves and beat the odds. We analyze every little thing they did. We write books about their incredible foresight, and we assume their victory was just inevitable. But here's what we don't see. We don't see the corporate graveyard. We completely ignore the countless other companies that made the exact same visionary commitments, that bet big on the exact same future, but just got wiped out by a bit of bad luck or a market shift nobody saw coming. We see the one winner standing on the hill, and we call it genius, completely forgetting about all the unlucky ones. So this leaves us with a massive problem, right? If you can't predict the future, and making these big, bold commitments is such a high-stakes gamble, what in the world is a company supposed to do? Is the only other option just to play it safe and be mediocre forever? Well, the answer, surprisingly, isn't just to get better at predicting the future or to be more agile. Being adaptable is great, but no company can pivot fast enough when a truly massive market shift happens. No. The real solution requires changing the entire goal of strategy itself. The solution is this really smart framework that basically says, hey, different people should be thinking about strategy in different ways on different timelines. So at the very top, the senior leaders thinking 10 or more years out. Their job isn't to pick a winner. Their job is to manage that deep uncertainty by creating a whole portfolio of strategic options, little bets that get the company ready for multiple possible futures. Then in the middle, divisions manage the current big projects. And at the functional level, for the next few years, teams have one job: execute perfectly. And this This is a total game changer in how you think about strategy. On one side, you've got the old way. Make one huge, irreversible choice, basically bet the whole farm that you're right. On the other side, you create a portfolio of low-cost options that let you stay flexible. You're not committing to a single future anymore. Instead, you're investing in the right to be able to decide later, once that fog of uncertainty starts to clear up a bit. You want a perfect example of this in action? Look at Microsoft in the late 80s. They didn't just go all in on Windows. No way. They were playing the long game. They kept their cash cow, MS-DOS, chugging along. They partnered with their biggest rival, IBM, on a different operating system. They even owned a piece of another competitor, Unix. And they were making killer apps for Apple's Mac. They had created options for almost every possible future before they finally went all in on Windows, but only when it was obvious it was going to win. So when you put all this together, it leads to this really powerful, kind of counterintuitive final point. This whole approach to strategy isn't about some heroic leader with a crystal ball. You see, this kind of strategy isn't about being the smartest person in the room who can predict the future. Actually, it's the opposite. It's about profound humility. The key, as the source material says so well, is to embrace what we do not know. Real strategic thinking isn't about having all the answers. It's about admitting that you don't and building a system that can thrive anyway. And so that brings us to the final thought I want to leave you with. Think about your own work, your company, maybe even your career. So ask yourself, is your strategy built on a single, fragile bet on the one future you hope for? Or is it a tough, resilient portfolio of options ready for the many futures that could actually happen?